Ah, yes. 2016. Back when the world was first introduced to Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. I still remember going to the theater with my cousin and my good friend, and we sat there and we watched Batman and Superman duke it out for the very first time on the big screen, and it was amazing. 14-year-old me was sitting in my theater seat in awe the entire time, seeing a dark and broody and gritty comic book film with Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, and it was amazing. I loved every single second of it. It was my favorite film for a while, but sadly the older I got, months passed and I watched the theatrical cut more and more, I started to see the glaring issues with it. There were scenes that felt like they didn't belong, and the story did not flow at all. There was little to no cohesiveness throughout this entire film. And thankfully, almost a half a year after the theatrical cut came out, we were introduced to Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition. And I remember when it came out and everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're just gonna get more Batman v Superman, that movie sucked, why are we getting another cut? I'll tell you why we got another cut. Because those 32 minutes that were cut out of the theatrical were some of the most important minutes that they could have cut out of this film. Scenes that flesh out Batman's motives, that gives Clark some actual detective work to do, gives Lois more reason to be there where she is in the film. Everything flows like an actual 3-hour epic, which is exactly what this film is. The film is so beautifully crafted and handled brilliantly with the music and the art style and the color palette and the acting and the visuals, of course, and the action set pieces. Everything works so amazing in this film. And I'm going to bring up this post that I saw on Instagram a few weeks ago, and I couldn't agree with it more. This is just my opinion, by the way, so please don't get offended. Please and thanks. Hate Thor Ragnarok. I hate it. I criticize it for throwing Thor's character out the window and totally changing the tone from the first two Thor films. I can criticize it for that. That's fair. But I will never, ever criticize Thor Ragnarok for being fun. If you hate a film because the film has the tone that it's going for, that is completely idiotic. You cannot like dark films. That's totally fine. But if you hate Batman v Superman, or you hate Thor Ragnarok because Thor Ragnarok's too fun, or Batman v Superman is too dark, you're wrong. Those films are going for a certain tone, and they succeeded. So when people say Batman v Superman is too dark, I just don't understand that one. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. And what elephant in the room, you may ask? Well, it's of course the Martha scene. You know the one. You've seen it. It's the one where Batman is this close to killing Superman. He's got him down, and he's got him dirty, and he's getting ready to impale him with a spear. And then Superman says his mom's name is Martha, and then Batman has a Vietnam flashback. And he lets him go because their moms have the same name, right? No. That's not at all why that happened. At the time, and still to this day to a degree, people always loved spinning the narrative to make DC look bad. The media and the common film goer wanted Marvel to succeed, but they wanted DC to fail. And that isn't an opinion, that's not the DC fanboy inside me talking. That is true. You could go back and hear the way they were to review the movies. I'm not saying that because they didn't like the film. There's nothing wrong with you not liking a film. There's nothing wrong with that at all. All film is subjective, and that's what makes it so great. The problem is, I knew several people, and still know several people, that were mad that Batman v Superman crossed $800 million because they wanted it to bomb. They wanted the film to do bad. And sure, you can ask any mindless sheep what the Martha scene was about, and of course they would say, well, Batman figured out Superman's mom's name is Martha, and they had a good time, and they went off in the sunset riding their golden horses, and the end. And that couldn't be more inaccurate. You can hear Zack Snyder say this, you can hear Henry Cavill say this, you can hear Gal Gadot say this, you can hear Ben Affleck say this. They've all said it many times before. The fact that people actually thought that the only defining factor in Batman sparing Superman was that their moms share the same name was pretty heartbreaking to me. And not heartbreaking in the sense that people didn't like the film. I couldn't care less what people thought of Batman v Superman. I love it. But it is heartbreaking in the sense that people actually believed everything the media was telling them, and they actually believed that that was the reason. Instead of trying to think for themselves, they just went along with it to try to make DC look bad. And if you were to open your eyes and look just a little deeper, just try to use your brain and see what this movie's about. See the dark and broody tone and the deep, compelling themes and the characters and the action. See what this film is about, and you will appreciate it so much more. If there is one word I could use to describe this scene and this film as a whole, it is simply misunderstood. Batman doesn't spare Superman because their moms share the same name. That is idiotic and that's stupid. Batman spares Superman because he finally sees Superman for who he is. He sees him as a human being, even though he's not. In Superman's dying breath before Batman stabs him through the chest with a kryptonite spear, instead of saying, "Spare me," instead of saying, "Let me go," he says, "You're letting them kill my mom. Let me go. Let me save my mom." Batman has a deep stigma for Superman throughout the entire film leading up to this moment. Bruce had never met Superman personally. Batman and Superman had never met publicly or personally. Batman had no idea what Superman's morals were. All he knew was that he was an alien that came down fighting General Zod and leveled half of Metropolis and killed people that he loved. You spend over a year just obsessing, trying to kill this alien, this man, this thing that killed dozens of people that you cared about and that you loved, and you finally meet him and you are ready to deliver the killing blow to him. And instead of him saying, "Let me go, please let me live, spare me," he says, "You're letting them kill Martha. You're letting them kill my mom. Let me go, let me save my mom." And that is when Batman's eyes are open. Batman finally sees Superman for the selfless, hopeful man that he is. And the reason we are shown the flashback of Thomas Wayne saying, "Martha," those are the last words that he says as he's on the sidewalk dying. Because now Batman is in his dad's shoes and he has a chance to save Bruce's mother. Or in this case, Batman has a chance to save Superman's mother. This is the way that I've always interpreted it, and this is the way it was meant to be interpreted. Zack has literally come out and said those exact words. There's nothing funny about it. There's nothing coincidental about it. Nothing. None of that. It is an intense, heartful, emotional moment between these two characters that we've been with for the past 2.5, 3 hours if you watch the Ultimate Cut. That's it. That is the Martha scene. The scene is not at all hard to understand. You just need to think a little bit. It's not rocket science. And on that note, I heavily urge each and every single one of you to please go check out the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. If you didn't like the theatrical cut, that's totally fine. Leave that at the door and get ready to see something new. Go in with an open mind, and hopefully you'll see what I saw. A dark, brooding, gritty, beautiful, action-packed, epic, misunderstood masterpiece.